Hello, beautiful people. I've been called to do a reading today. It seems very specific to me, so it may be for a very specific group of people, wherever you may be. The message unfolds the same for everyone that's in this situation, but the situations may differ. So it's a broad set of situations, but the message is the same. So if this resonates with you, it will resonate with you. And just take what you understand and leave the rest for, just put a question mark over whatever doesn't fit, because that part might be for somebody else. It's to do with our inner relationships. So what I've been shown is it's a mother and son relationship, daughter and father. I don't know why I'm saying it that way, but I am. A close, intimate relationship, as in an intimate relationship. And I also received that for someone it's to do with a relationship that's happening at work. So it doesn't mean an intimate relationship, but your relationship with someone at work, that perhaps someone you held in high esteem or felt close to, or that you were colleagues and working quite well together, or even if you're in different departments or whatever, that there was some kind of camaraderie or well-working energy. So it could be that too, for someone. Otherwise it's, intimate relationships or family members, in whatever way that plays out. And what I was shown is that there's been separation, there's been a time, for some people this is a long time ago, but for some reason it's resurfacing now. The feelings or the thoughts of this person or what happened is resurfacing now. For others, it's more recent and they don't understand why the relationship is the way that it is. And it kind of feels like, why can't, from your perspective, why is this happening? Why can't I get this person to understand that what they're doing is destructive? And why can't I get them to hear my words? Why don't my words make any difference to the seemingly destructive path this person seems to be on that has affected our connection? So there have been times where there have been times of frustration for you, in that I don't know why they're doing this. You may not see things clearly, but you feel things clearly, or you felt things clearly at the time, and so you found yourself saying certain things to them that may help them or help the situation, but it just seemed to fall on deaf ears, and even in some cases make it worse. So there's a level of estrangement that's happened, a separation that's happened, where one or both of you just, it feels more like they are the ones moving away, but there's a part of you through this process where you've gone, I give up. There's nothing more I can do here. I don't understand what they're doing and why they're doing this. And so I give up. and you might be quite annoyed at them and actually have been quite annoyed at their behaviour for some time prior to the separation, if that makes sense, where you started to question what their intent towards you actually is. So I'm picking up on someone who's been very patient and someone who's been very tolerant of somebody else's behaviours, where once upon a time there was a really good connection there, but more recently, prior to this separation, there was behaviours being exhibited by this person, the other person, who whereby it just felt completely disjointed, not who they are. It's like, do I even know this person? I don't know this person. Whereas in fact you know this person very well, but they're behaving in a way that seems not completely out of character, but it's like they were playing out the darkest version of them. Put it that way. What you'd always tried to save them from within themselves, it all came out. The darkest version of them came out, and then there had to be separation. And that was very confusing and left a lot of questions and painful for you, in actual fact, for both parties. And what I'm hearing right now is, had to get away from what I couldn't face. Had to get away from what I couldn't face, what I couldn't deal with. And I'll say, because this is the whole point of the message, is within themselves. So there's something about your energy and the connection that you had and have that is too confronting for them. It holds a mirror up to their face. And a lot of people who have quite large shadow sides, because they haven't, it hasn't been cleared yet, or they haven't worked through it yet, who feel more comfortable wearing a mask, that everything's okay, everything's good, but in the background they're carrying a lot of dark energy that they haven't cleared yet, a lot of trauma they haven't cleared, a lot of things they don't understand about themselves and their experiences to date yet. Your presence and your connection actually holds a mirror up to them. And so they get very uncomfortable. But I'm here to tell you, you know who actually gets really uncomfortable? The demons that are attached to them. Their inner demons. Just by being you, you are shedding light on their dark side. There may have been a period whereby you were struggling with them, wanting them to step up and be a higher version of themselves that you know they can be. You can see their potential. It came across as expectations upon them that they felt they couldn't match. But in actual fact, you were cheering them on to be to step towards the highest, best version of themselves. But they're so weighed down by their shadow side, by what they won't look at within themselves or heal within themselves, that when your presence is shining light upon that, it's like the demons within them just have to get them away from you, and it causes so much discord within them. It causes them to not understand you. It causes them to have a almost visceral reaction of being repulsed, or being, maybe repulsed is a strong word, of just needing to get away. It's too uncomfortable. And so then what these people do is, and you watch them do it, is that they turn back to their old ways. They turn back to their old ways of being, whether it's lifestyle choices or their personal habits or how they deal with people around them. They'll put the second mask on their face if they have to get them away from the uncomfortableness of how uncomfortable it made them feel to have their shadow side shaken up a bit. And so when people do have demonic attachments or are just not facing their inner demons, so then aspects of themselves that they don't like and they keep hidden because they don't understand that aspect of themselves, or they haven't forgiven themselves for certain behaviours or things that they've done in the past, and so they become like entities that just linger in the dark side, the things that aren't seen. And so they want people to see is this perfect version of them, which is the mask, which is they're always smiling, everything's great, I'm in control of my life, I make decisions for myself, I'm empowered. But in actual fact, behind the scenes, the shadow side is dark and heavy and looming. And so these people don't have a lot of happiness within them, particularly when they're on their own. So it could be at night that they have restless sleep and need to get up during the night, and they're struggling within themselves emotionally, or they are just in the hours before going to bed, the dark starts to seep out to their conscious mind more, and they feel very uncomfortable, very unsettled, very uncomfortable. Now, for a period, these people, for different points in time, these people feel quite empowered and resolute about decisions they've made, and they feel empowered by their decisions. And that's the ego who wants to stabilise everything, reassuring them that those decisions and those actions that have actually come from a dark place, out of fear and out of uncomfortability, which then represents as a threat to them, those decisions were the right decisions to make for them, the best decisions for them. And so this is an interesting one because there's two sides to the coin here. There's what you've experienced and what you're going through, and there's what they've experienced and what they're going through. If you can imagine a mother and son, the mother playing a role of always supporting son, no matter what, silly things they get up to, or how unappreciative of people's kindness they seem to be, or how destructive they seem to be, and something dismissive of mother as well when they don't like what they're hearing. And so mother tries to guide them gently and not, rock the boat or anything like that. And the son just carries on with the wool over his eyes, just carries on doing what he does and thinks he's fine. I don't need anyone's help or assistance, and da-da-da. And in fact, there's a little bit of entitlement there, is what I'm picking up. That things should go my way. People should be generous to me and kind and helpful because I'm me, right? And that's the ego. And the ego can mask, like when someone's actually feeling really low in themselves, from childhood feels really low in themselves, they develop a thick skin, they develop a strong ego, because that's the mask of, well, I can't be this weak little person out in the world, I have to function, and what will people think of me? And so they wear this mask, and it is all ego based. It's out of self-protection. It's not actually to deceive people, but it's out of self-protection. So they might come across and be exposed as really fake people along the way, here and there, or insincere, or not having the right intent towards others and whatever. But in actual fact, they're doing what they perceive to be the best, to do their best to just function in some cases, to just function in the world and be able to cope and be seen to be thriving, even to try to convince themselves that they're thriving. But in actual fact, the wee hours of the morning or late at night or during the night is when their shadow side comes through more, and they feel most insecure and uncomfortable, and then that has to be quashed and pushed down. And so anyone they come in contact with, like you, who just through being who you are, because you have dealt with a lot of your shadow stuff, you have humbled yourself in your life and been willing to take accountability for things that we perceive as negative experiences that we've had or that we've created, things that we regret, all that kind of stuff. Taking self-accountability is really plays a big part in the reduction or diminishment of that shadow side, and you become more whole as an individual. And so when they come across people who are in that caliber of energy, if you want to call it that, it can be very confronting for them. Very, very confronting. It can bring up a lot of fear and whatever else. And what comes out is resentment. Spirit's telling me. It appears to be resentment. It appears to be that they need to push you away or tell you, say some things to you that belittle you. That if you weren't, if you didn't know yourself as much as you do, you could take those comments really to heart, and that they would really kind of mess you up. But you can just see that it's like a child acting out, throwing a tantrum and trying to be hurtful on the way out, but they're trying to get away from you because they just don't feel supported by you, and it's too confronting, and I just need to get out of here. And you're left with a lot of questions, and you're left with this feeling of, why is this happening? Can't they see how self-destructive this is, let alone to the connection? And I can't do anything to help this. And odds are you've already done a lot to help this person, whoever they are in your life. But Spirit wants you to know that, and I believe you already do know, that this time apart, so it might be, it may not be complete no contact. It may be that they're vaguely in your life and there's the odd text here and there, the basic sort of communication connection. I'm still here if you need me, coming from Mother. But she also knows that she's had to put boundaries in place within herself, make agreements, arrangements within her understanding, her psyche, and her knowing of herself, that of what she will tolerate and not tolerate moving forward, whatever damage it seems to do to the relationship, or however far it pushes Sun away. She knows, she's learned that soul to soul, like if you take Mother Sun out of it and one soul talking to another or dealing with another, if you're going to keep being destructive and disrespectful and harmful to yourself and others in whatever way or form, whether it's just disrespect or disregard or whatever it is, spiritual laziness, whatever it is, you're only going to get so far with me. You won't be in my inner circle as much as I love you while you're exhibiting those dark behaviours. And so Spirit wants you to know that however much time has passed, whether it's a recent thing or it's been years or whatever, the message that I got really strongly is that this person, whoever they are in your life, is battling their demons. Like they seem to be in the thick of it. It's different for each of them, but they seem to be in the thick of having to face their demons right now. And it's kind of hitting them in waves. So there's periods in between getting hit by that. There are periods where they get some reprieve, where they go, I don't know what I was crying about yesterday, or why I was so aggravated or upset, because today I feel fine. And then they'll distract themselves doing what they have to do in life, and then bang, they get another wave of reminding them of what they haven't dealt with within themselves, or it can be just, it may not be specific thoughts, but it might be a feeling that hits them of their, whatever it is for them, their inner emptiness, their field, their need to wear a mask, because the mask separates. It's a dualistic. It separates us from ourselves, from our authentic selves. So whatever the blocks are that stop them from becoming their highest, truest, most authentic self, behaviours that are more authentic to and in line with who their soul actually is. Yeah. People often refer to these people as they're broken. They're broken. Wherever they go, they're going to break things, right? They're going to break people's hearts, or disappoint people, or ruin opportunities for themselves, because they go against what will help them, and there's many other reasons. But what that brokenness is, besides, you're referring to unhealed trauma, the brokenness is the separation, the dualistic nature of where they're at in that. This is the me who I cannot let anyone see, and I don't even want to acknowledge. And this is the me that I put out in the world. And this me, it's a big mask, because they've got to hide that. The bigger the dark is, the bigger the shield and armour needs to be in order to for them to cope. And then when they come across someone or a set of circumstances that kind of, in some indirect way, somehow shines light on, when you meet someone and they can see you and they see your flaws and they can see into you, they know no matter how vehement or confident you are, they can see the frightened child. That feeling there makes them run a million miles. They have to maintain control. They have to have the upper hand in their mind. But the fact is, the more that they run from themselves, and the more that they run away from people or circumstances that shine light on the work they need to do to become more whole, and unified within themselves, the more the pain continues for them. And so I'm using the mother-son as an example. So the mother just has to let them be, but is working on herself in the meantime. And in that moment for the mother, in that space, the mother gets to grow and focus on herself. So all of the focus that she was putting on son and trying to be diplomatic and helping them, but not getting too overprotective or involved, but then letting them know when they've done something really disrespectful or damaging to relationships around them, not even between the two of them. She's pulling all that energy back and saying, I'm going to leave you to your own devices, and then hasn't even spoken out, hasn't even communicated what the boundaries are that she's put in place. She's just behaving differently, so that every bump in the road that the son goes through, she doesn't have to experience it fully alongside him, because he needs to experience that. And it might be the 15,000th time that he puts his hand in the fire and gets burnt, that he finally realises what he's doing to himself. In the meantime, she gets to all the focus and energy and headspace that she was employing and spending upon him that he wouldn't even be aware of, she's now has available for herself. And so she starts to go through a glow up, because she's got the energy, the headspace to be able to do more exercise, build and create whatever she wants to create in her life, whether it's other more meaningful relationships or more connections with people who she aligns with more, moving house, building house, a new career, whatever it is. She has the energy and the capacity to do that, because she's not overwhelmed focusing on son who's behaving like a, I don't want to say the word. But what's happened is that separation has caused for the mother to put boundaries in place, where it's a conversation she's had with herself, an arrangement she's made with herself, not communicated it to the son, and has said, from now on, this is as far as I, give a darn. This is as far as I'll go to physically help the person. This is how far I'll go to be physically or emotionally available to them, or whatever it is, and that can shift based on the behaviour coming from son. So the focus comes back onto the mother to do what she needs to do for herself, and because of it has a glow up and has, when I say glow up, I don't just mean physically, but it is a rejuvenating, a process of rejuvenation, because you're not walking around like a leaky bucket trying to help everyone else. You're containing your energy and using it for yourself and your life. And so things start to improve for the mother. But if she kept herself completely tethered and was for some reason I'm getting son and mother riding on a wagon, like a horse and cart, and they're on the front of the wagon, and every bump of the wheel, the son's driving this, and the mother's going along for the ride to assist the son, and every bump and rock that he hits, or pothole, she feels as well. And in actual fact, she's a person of her own right, so she doesn't need to go on that ride with a son who's behaving so recklessly and foolishly. Yeah, because she wouldn't, if the reins were in her hands, she wouldn't drive like that. Yeah, she wouldn't ride the wagon like that. But because of her commitment to son, she's in for all the bumps and rocks and rolls, until she decides finally, you know what, when we get to the next town, I'm stepping off, and we'll be in touch, and I wish you well, and I love you dearly, and that will never change, but I don't need to go on this ride with you for as long as you are choosing the things that you're choosing, whether it's the behaviours, whatever it is, the lifestyle. I hope that all makes sense. I hope that this isn't triggering for anybody. So Spirit wants to let you know, one, you're doing really well. Really, really well. May not feel like it some days, but you are. And keep going. And the other thing is, the point of this is to answer some of your questions that you've had as to the general why. And so they are fighting their demons. They are getting, there's glimpses, there's like little, what's the word? Shards of light that are coming through from the divine to them at times. that is making them question themselves gently, different for everyone, of course, but at times question themselves, revisiting conversations that have been had, revisiting things that happened, things that were said, things that were done, and how they handled themselves and how you handled yourself and how they perhaps misunderstood where you were coming from or didn't trust your intent or whatever it is. All they knew is they needed to go in the direction that they went in. And so there's elements, small elements here of inner reflection, okay, at times, but this person's demons obviously feel threatened by that. If it's not actual, demonic entities, it is the person's protective ego. Like ego is always a dirty word, right? But it's there to protect us, to stabilize us. It's the protective ego. If it's not actual demonic attachments or entities, it's their own demons. And what I mean by that is their own stuff within themselves that they don't want to face, or the parts of themselves that they think are too ugly to be brought up to the conscious mind and dealt with. They use it to push those streams of light away. But that will only work for so long, because more and more light, because of the times that we're in right now, more and more light is going to come in. And they are going to they'll be forced to become more and more reflective and to look at things with more truth. And grow. The process of growth has already begun for them, but it's not a fun time for them right now. They, even though on the outside they may seem like life's good or stable or whatever, only they know who they sit with. Yeah, at the end of the day, who are they? How are they feeling? Only they know the shadow side that they sit with when they're alone and not distracted. So there's an inner battle between the light and the dark within this person, within these people. And so they will not have anyone like you interfering with this process at all. They don't see it as a process. They see it as, why won't this stop? Why they're annoyed by it. It's unsettling and it's an annoyance, and they can get quite aggressive within themselves, frustrated and angry in terms of their inner struggle between the light and dark. But the light and dark is both sides of them. It's both them. It's all their energy, and all they have to do is unify it. So embrace everything about themselves that they like and don't like, and let themselves feel the trauma from the past. Let themselves feel it, and then be the person for themselves that they need to have their own back, and to give them the great big hug, or to develop coping mechanisms whereby they're able to self-assure and self-regulate their emotions, yeah, and their actions. That's what growing up is, right? And so these people are still stuck in that fight within themselves. And so anyone who comes near that is going to get burnt, or told to take a hike, or they will they will project their stuff and their feelings onto you and others. All at the same time while they're doing their best to hold their mask in place, because the moment the mask falls, they'll shock themselves. And that's more confronting than anything else that anyone else could bring. So they're working really hard. It's taking a lot of energy to hold the mask in place, to contain the dark stuff, the unhealed trauma and stuff they haven't forgiven themselves for. And the demons and the ego, they would, like the stuff I just said then, would go, I don't have anything to heal from. Everything I've done is right and fair. That kind of aggression and vehemence in I'm untouchable, there's nothing wrong with me. Yeah? So I don't know why, but I hope this helps someone. This is what has come to me really strongly from Spirit. And so the message is just keep doing what you're doing and let them keep doing what they're doing, but know that there's times where you go through, and I think I may have said this before in other readings, you go through dips of frustration or sorrow, sadness yourself, or even anger at times yourself. And you're like, where has this come from? Where's this coming from? Why am I experiencing this? I'm fine. And often what it is because there's actually a soul connection there. This is what I failed to tell you earlier. This is why this is such, even if it's a work colleague, it's such a significant connection, because there are soul to soul connections, entanglements. Entanglements might suggest messiness, but I don't mean it in that way. I mean a connectedness there. These souls know each other, and so that's why everything strikes at the heart, at the gut. That's why it's so hard to watch them do what they're doing, and why it's so painful to be in separation. But in actual fact, you're fine with it because you're loving self right now, and you're doing real good. And there may have been many times where you've caught yourself saying, well, I don't need that, I don't need them, they can F off, whatever. This is who they are, I don't want a part of it, yeah? But underneath all that, there's still that soul connection that's there. So you acknowledge that as well. And I have to say, I'm remembering now what I said earlier, this person is having glimpses of acknowledgement within themselves of what the connection is. They know that there's some soul pull towards each other. Even when you're like, get away from me, there's still this connection, the soul connection. So they are starting to see that more fully now than they ever have. And I think it's the space of you focusing on yourself and your life that has given them the space to feel what's missing, and to over time they'll, if they're brave, strong, they might be able to accept more of these shards of light that are coming through and actually look into them and let themselves see what's revealed within that light. What is the light revealing within yourself? What is it about yourself you haven't been accepting? What is it about your experience you refuse to look at? What is it about the pain, fear and anxiety that certain experiences have caused you that you refuse to sit in and experience so that it can dissipate? You have to feel your way through it. You can't say, oh, I'm not feeling anything. I'm going to do everything I can to numb it and get away from that feeling. I don't want to be vulnerable. And so it stays with you. Whereas if you actually stop and sit in it and have your cry and whatever you know, feel, allow yourself to feel it, no matter how scary it is, no matter how much it feels like it's breaking you, to let yourself feel it. And then be there for yourself, give yourself that hug, the reassurance, the self-regulatory stuff, the coping mechanisms coming in that aren't from ego, that are actually from self-love. That's the healing. Perhaps getting perspectives about a fresh perspective about the person or people who made you feel that way, you know, when you were young, or that still do today, whatever. Looking at things from different angles. So I hope that all makes sense. I hope I haven't been telling people how to suck eggs, because, you know, some things may seem really obvious to some and others need to hear it a certain way. So I just say what comes to me. I'm going to do a quick card spread and see if there's anything else Spirit wants me to say. It's just absolutely, as I said, that words of encouragement from Spirit towards you, and they see your pain and how hard it is and all of that stuff, but can also see you really starting to rejuvenate and lighten up and glowing, because when you're, I want to say, in this person's presence in the past, your light was overshadowed by their darkness. There it is. So you felt like you were going through a difficult time, but in actual fact, you were going through their difficult time. Okay? And this is another reason why Spirit says it was necessary for separation to happen, so that you don't have to be conflicted within yourself and confused as to why you're feeling a certain way about yourself, your life, and whatever else. Because in actual fact, it was their darkness overshadowing your light. And as you self-empowered, because I believe a lot of you will recognize today that during that time before separation, you actually went through an upgrade and started to vocalize what you will and won't put up with anymore. And so your light got, let's say, equal to their darkness, and then they have to go. They'll fight, they'll be throwing spears at you on the way out to hurt you, to bring you down a peg, is what they think in their mind. But they've got to run away from it, because they can't face what it would make them face. Okay, so you're glowing, because now your energy, even though you feel their emotions at times, they might come through in dreams or whatever, or first thing in the morning waking up, and songs, lyrics in songs ringing bells for you and resonating. You are the only one affecting your sphere of energy, and it's clear, and I wish you could see the visuals that I'm seeing right now. It's clear and glistening, so keep doing what you're doing, okay? And let them be, let them do what they need to do. That's up to God, up to Spirit, the universe, yeah? And their ancestors that have passed on, their angel guides and spiritual guides, to help them with that. It's not your job. It's too taxing. So let God do it. Okay. We have justice in the present position. The star in what crowns you. The moon in terms of what to expect. It's interesting. Death, distant past, the Emperor, recent past, future influence is the Lovers, interestingly enough. Mental attitude is the Wheel of Fortune. And that's what I was going to say. The wheel, before I was getting ready for this reading, and they said to me, the wheels are turning in your favour now. You did the work, you did the best you could do for that person, for the situation, whatever it is, whatever the challenge was. And now things are starting to turn. The wheel has turned in your favour now. So there's nothing for you to do, there's nothing for you to fix. Just stay focused on yourself and keep lightening up, because things are going to get better and better for you, and let them be on their path, and let them see. You know, they don't like to hear it when you say left to your own devices, look at what you do. They don't like to hear that, right? But it almost comes across as an I told you so. But that's the reality. So let them suffer at the hands of their own devices, whatever the right words are. You get what I'm saying? Because some people need to learn that way. Other people can think before they act, and actually think clearly and take accountability within themselves before they act, and humble themselves where they need to be humbled, where they become less defensive and less combative. And then they have more peaceful lives, more love in their lives. These people have been really throwing their tanties, like 2-year-olds, throwing tantrums, having to have their own way because they have to have the upper hand, because if they don't have the upper hand in their minds, if they don't perceive themselves to have the upper hand, then they're suffering. Why are they suffering? Because their ego is so big. The ego is what they're clutching onto to protect themselves from being seen, from their dark stuff being seen. They don't even want to look at it themselves. So I'm going to whiz through this. I know I've said that before and then I end up talking for another hour, but I'm going to whiz through this. Basically, you're in a position now where you've learnt many lessons about yourself and your needs, and you have placed very strong boundaries around yourself in terms of behaviours you'll accept from people and behaviours that you won't. And you're catching yourself out, sometimes out at the shops or wherever, standing up for yourself in small ways, but they're big ways for you. And you're not deciding to do it. You're just noticing that, oh, in the past I would have just put up with that, but today I said something. Not aggressively, I said it in a way that was respectful, but self-affirming, and to do with your standards and what you require, or whatever. That's what you're noticing in yourself, and that's one of the benefits of this self-focus that period that you're going through. And so this is what I said earlier. You're going through. You're being encouraged to do more self-care, to be more at peace with self and your environment, to not put yourself in places or around people who you don't feel safe with. It's all about you. Being at peace, connecting to the divine, connecting with nature, connecting with your body, your energy, and loving on yourself. Stepping into the age of Aquarius. This card is Aquarius, and we're stepping into the age of Aquarius, and so we're going to do things different now. Times are changing, and we've got to do things different now. It's time to focus on yourself, put boundaries in place, and you're doing it. So they're saying keep going. And this is odd for the moon to be there because, okay. I don't normally say this about this card, but what I'm getting from it is that the truth will be revealed. So after a period of what we perceive as darkness and having to, heavy rains, so a lot of emotion, and a dark time of having to do inner reflection and sit through the not knowing, the truth will be revealed, is what I'm getting from that today. I will put another card on that. And so the Hermit. So there it is. The Hermit is shining light on what perplexes him, shining light on his own issues and things that are troublesome for him. So the truth will be revealed. Whatever's been going on that's been hidden will be exposed. Now, it can happen various ways. Someone that is connected to that other person tells you something, or that person decides, I need to clear the air here and come back and talk about what happened and what I've been going through and whatever, and revealing whatever's been hidden. Normally with the moon, I would say there's a lot of emotional bookkeeping that needs to happen, and we all know there's always a lot of emotional bookkeeping that needs to happen, right? We need to let ourselves feel stuff and understand what our feelings are and all that kind of stuff. Get more in touch with our emotions and let ourselves be brave and to feel it. But this, especially with the Hermit here, I'm really getting that light being shone upon what has been troublesome. Okay? There was great transformation in the distant past, and ending and moving on and moving forward, leaving people behind, whether that happened to you or whatever you might perceive that it happened to you, but in actual fact your decision to let someone else go is actually you bringing an ending into play. Okay? And that can be even just energetically. This is about change that you brought about, not necessarily change that happened to you. This is the stuff that you decided upon, whether energetically or mentally, physical move, whatever. This is changes that you brought about yourself that some people around you may or may not have been really happy about. But definitely a transformative period for you in the distant past. And the Emperor here is the attitude of, well, I've done what I've had to do. I did what I had to do. And so you faced your stuff and you've climbed over the mountains. See the mountains behind? I don't know if you can see it, but there's mountains behind this Emperor, and that's the journey he's travelled to be able to sit and earn his place on that throne. Okay, and he has knowledge and wisdom and a much greater sense of self because of that journey. So we never look over our shoulders and go, why did I have to go through that? That was so horrible. Like, I don't deserve that. Da, da, da. It's what our souls call for, certain experiences, so that we can grow from them. And then the influence that's coming in the coming months is the Lovers. So there'll be focus returning upon relationships is the influence that's coming in. So there've been unresolved issues in relationships that you consider past, or if it's a mother, son, daughter, father kind of, if it's family or whatever, it feels like unresolved stuff is rolling back in. I keep seeing like tumbleweeds blowing in. So it's like something that's dead, that's been dead, but it's resurfacing so that it can be looked at. Does that make sense? So whether it's a reignition of it, I don't know. that we need to know that right now. It's more about self-expression on both sides, and it's the judgment card here is like things for things to be put right, So there's going to be a re-evaluation, a refocus, a reconnection, re-something, revisitation, where there will be great communication, and it suggests in a non-confrontational way, but you never know. There's a lot of emotion involved and a lot of passion involved in this. So it's quite possible that at times the communication will feel quite volatile. But at the end of the day, this is about fairness, and justice will be done. I feel like the responsibility, this is from Spirit, the responsibility to make things right lands squarely on one person's shoulders. And whatever amount of time it takes for them to humble themselves enough and be self-accountable enough to come to a place where they can be a higher version of themselves, be more aligned with their higher self, that's when they may do some kind of communication that brings the past up and sets things right. Fingers crossed on that one. Let's hope that history doesn't repeat. Your attitude's awesome, and so it's the Wheel of Fortune. Like you know how to, you can finesse people, and I don't mean that in a manipulative way, but you can be your charming self and get the best out of people at the moment. Whereas before, it didn't feel that way. It felt more of a struggle, and you weren't treated the way you were. You deserve to be treated, and so now you're making sure people treat you the way. Both of them, even the world, you're making sure that people treat you how you deserve to be treated, and you won't accept anything less than that because you've put your boundaries in place, right? Because you've learned and grown through the pain that you've been experiencing. So great attitude. People are resources. I have resourceful people around me. Who I connect with on different levels because they're all very different people, and I get the support that I need from who I need it from, and I'm very well aware of who I need to watch out for, the sly dogs and slippery snakes. Yeah, people that are stubborn or combative. And I can turn everything I just said is the negative. I can say the good stuff. Agile, clever, strong-minded and determined, and someone wanting people to, wanting to bring beauty to situations and to shine. So there's always different ways to look at things. But the point is you're doing well. You've got a good attitude in terms of getting your needs met. And then, so snapshot of the role you're playing in your life is very similar. They're two very different cards, but it's very similar in terms of the message. This is in term, the Wheel of Fortune is about, in this instance, people that affect you, that are what they're doing for you. The world more so about what you're in the center of your life. Where's your energy going out? Who's your energy going out to? And so you're having fun, having a bit of a dance with yourself, and making sure that in your bubble, you're feeling good. Your aura is clear. You are doing what you need to do for yourself, and then you choose what you get involved with, who you help, and in what way, blah, blah, blah. Okay? With your beautiful new boundaries in place. So you're just operating on a higher level. You're clearer about who you are. You're clearer about what you expect. You're clearer about the value that you add to any situation, and you're not devaluing yourself anymore or putting up with rubbish behaviour. So that shows great growth and strength, and there it is. And so what you're wanting more of, but also kind of scared of, is strength. You want this sorted out. I feel like you want to do your filing. You don't just want to do emotional bookkeeping, but you're wanting to file things. You want the right labels on things. You want to understand what's happened, and you want to know the truth. And so then you can say, well, this is what that was about, this is what that was about, this is what that was about. And you're putting your labels on your files, and you know exactly what's what. That's about getting things in order, getting things under control. And so you're wanting to develop your inner strength through knowing is what comes through right now. Inner strength through knowing. You feel as though once you know the truth, then you'll have a better grip on things. Then you can be stronger. Actually, knowing the truth is going to require that you be stronger than you are right now. So it will be a challenge. The mountains are sort of becoming 3D for me. So because of that, there's an element of fear. So I want to keep going from, what's the words? I want to keep bounding forward and get stronger and stronger, and you will. But I'm also fearful of what may be revealed in that process to me. What's next? What's my next challenge? So I'm fearful of being strong, because when I'm strong, I'm bold, and when I'm bold, I move forward, and when I move forward, I know I'm going to encounter more challenges, which we know only serves to help us grow, and have a greater understanding of self and to elevate further. So it's all good. There's nothing to worry about. End result based on all of this, the potential that is available here, is being in a place where we know where we've been, we know where we're going, we are processing where we're at right now, we're divinely guided, we know we have so much to be grateful for, and we are grateful, and we accept that divine guidance. We also can see what we have been through and what we've had to develop within ourselves in order to get through that and to get back onto from the water to the dry land. But we're still dealing with the water. So it's like tying up loose ends, weighing things up. It's not really weighing things up, but it's kind of like while I'm doing this, it's being contemplative of being open to any insights that help you to understand the journey that you've been on, so that you can step forward onto your new path. And it's all the same path. It's a new path, it's a new opportunity, but it's all like from a bird's eye view, from the divine's view, from our guide's view, it's the same path. We think we're hanging a strong right, and from their view, it's a straight line. So it's because we feel every bump in the road. But good stuff and great things to look forward to. Okay, I'm not even going to put a card on that, because it really is affected by how we conduct ourselves and behave and respond to the challenges that are coming before us in the coming months and weeks and months. The message that I'm getting is to always take the higher ground. I'm talking to people, I know, Spirit's just said this, I know I'm talking to people who are so, give me the words, I said this to someone the other day on the phone, so readily like so ready, always so ready, and this, especially the past, always so ready to be held accountable. If something goes wrong, the first thing you look at is, what did I do? What role did I play in this to make it worse or make it happen or whatever? It's like if something, like if you are walking past a table and someone's put a glass sphere on the table and thought it would be stable there and not move, and you happen to walk past and the sphere rolls off the table and smashes on the ground, you think you're to blame. You had nothing to do with it. You didn't make a decision to put it there unstable, to not contain it in some way so it wouldn't roll off. You can't control the floorboards moving under your feet that might have tipped the table just a meter that made it roll in the first place, or the wind blew from the door that was 5 meters away from you that you did not leave open. Whatever it was, the causes could be a million, and none of them are on you, and yet you will be the first one to go, oh, did I do that? Did I do something wrong? Did I do that? Always ready to hold yourself accountable, always ready to take blame if it's needed, because you see that as the honourable thing to do. You're not trying to get away with anything, and you're happy to be held accountable. That's who I'm talking to. And so because of that has in the past left you open to be used as a scapegoat by other people. Yes, it was your fault, actually, because they are not reflecting. They are not who you are. They will not say, actually, I left the door open, I know the boards are creaky, I didn't stabilise it, it shouldn't have been there in the first place, I put it there, you didn't do anything wrong. They're not going to say that. They're going to let you take the blame, and in some cases will squarely place the blame on you when they know that's unfair. But they're getting some more self-awareness. They're starting now to see in little bits here and there, it's nothing major, but they're starting to get a whisper in their mind, in their mind's eye of, oh, maybe I wasn't quite so balanced when I said that or did that. Maybe that decision was based on these things I'm still not comfortable looking at, that I didn't want to look at, and so I made a decision to get away from that, or to turn this corner or whatever, based on stuff that was going on within me and not within the actual circumstances or whatever. They're starting to the mirror's being held up to them. So you're away from them. Your light is no longer a mirror to them. They are getting mirrored internally from the divine within their lives. So they can't actually blame it on you anymore. You won't be their punching bag. They are going to see over time that whatever they did, wherever they are currently, is their own doing, and they're going to have to work their way out of it. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. I hope it all made sense, and I hope it wasn't too triggering for anyone. I do want to say the Chariot, and so keep moving forward. So that's at the bottom of the deck. Sometimes I forget to look at the bottom of the deck. It is the Chariot. So moving forward, you're in a place where you're able to take advantage of opportunities like never before. Okay? But you're fine coasting along. You're fine coasting along. And what it means is you're so free now that when opportunities come across your path, you have the headspace to be able to weigh up, well, do I want to do that? Will I take advantage of that? Will I take a detour? Will I do this? And make a decision. Whereas before, when you were overshadowed by someone else's darkness, you were, and being projected upon, you had no capacity to see or act on any opportunity that was naturally being put in your path, because you were overwhelmed, consumed by concern for somebody else. And so you're not responsible for them. They are responsible for them. Just because they act like a child doesn't mean they should be treated like one. There's this entitlement that's in there saying, oh, because I'm so upset and because you are, a giving, generous person, you must mother me, father me, smother me, whatever it is. Well, no, actually, how about you're an adult? Sit up and start self-regulating and start looking at what you need to look at and grow up, basically. Stop holding everyone else accountable for what's going on within you, within your own struggle between light and dark within yourself. Within you in terms of the demonic attachments that are there because of your dark choices in the past. Go and fix it. All right. Bless. Have a great day, evening. And I hope this puts people in good stead. I only ever want to do this for the benefit of others. So please take this as it resonates. Don't make any big decisions based on this. Make your big decisions based on your own intuition and your own thought process, and take full responsibility and accountability for your actions. Okay?